Today I'll be presenting the video presentation I've created for pre-calculus on the mathematician Carl Friedrich Gauss. Carl Gauss. There's a few things that comes to mind. Some stuff about sequences and series, the fundamental theorem of algebra, the Gauss rifle from Fallout 4, Gauss from Warframe, and the Gauss cannon from Doom. Admittedly, this guy's got his name in some strange places, but it'll all make sense later.
Like this. At one point, maybe like third grade, Gauss is sitting in his third grade classroom, and the teacher is thinking, oh, if I assign a problem for the kids to work on it for a long time, I can sit back and read my newspaper. So he thought up this great idea. He said, okay, class, I would like you to add up all the integers from 1 to 100. And he thought that should take them a while. And he sat down to read his newspaper, and a few seconds later, Carl Gauss shot his hand up and said, oh, here, teacher, I have the answer. It's 5,050.
That story of young Carl Gauss is probably one of the first things you'll find about him. It's a great story that captures his very mathematical mind. Anyways, some basic information. Gauss was born on April 30th, 1777 in Brunswick. His family wasn't the richest, but he was able to get his full education with funding from the Duke of Brunswick, who decided to support him after many recommendations from Gauss's teachers and parents. He first went to Brunswick Collegium Carolinum, but later left for Göttingen University. I found that the first discovery/achievement of Gauss was constructing a 17-sided polygon. To be honest, it doesn't sound that impressive. Apparently, the real significance is in the algebraic proof. I mean, how hard could it be?
Oh my god! Oh jeez, oh my god!
For his doctoral thesis, he proved the fundamental theorem of algebra, which I don't want to know how. He finished his education no problem and immediately got to researching. He still had Duke giving him money, so there was no need to get a job. In 1798, he published his most famous and most well-known work. But before we continue, I'd like to thank our sponsor, his most famous and most well-known work, Disquisitiones Arithmetica, which discusses modular arithmetic, quadratic polynomials, and number theory. In 1805, he got married to Johanna Ostaph, then correctly predicted the position of a star in 1807. However, in that same year, the Duke of Brunswick got killed in war, which means no more money. That's okay though, he'll just make money during research by working at the observatory in Göttingen. But many people would die through the next 2 years. His dad, dead. His wife, dead. His second son, also dead. Obviously, Gauss wasn't too happy about this plot development. He asked Olbers, the guy who offered him the job at Göttingen, for a place to stay because he's depresso espresso. After curing his depression, he remarried and got to building a new observatory until 1816, when it was completed. But then his mother got sick, and, spoiler alert, she died. Oh, and that second wife of his? She also died. At this point, Gauss has learned a very important lesson. Women are temporary. But you know what's not temporary? Doom eternal. As Gauss continued his never-ending math grant, a physicist who was come to be the new physics professor at Göttingen, Wilhelm Weber, arrived and became friends with Gauss. The two researched, created laws of terrestrial magnetism, which are also the very laws utilized in real-life Gauss rifles, built the first electric telegraph, and then Gauss died. Evidently, Carl Gauss was a smart guy. He married twice, watched every bit of his family die, and did a lot of cool math stuff. And he was possibly one of the most influential and important mathematicians/physicists to have ever lived.